Sometimes our first emotions when we get news isn't really joy. It could be uncertainty, it could be fear, and it could just be not what people are expecting you to have. Welcome to Healed or Hurting with Adora Leke-Aladekoba, and today I'm privileged and excited to have with me Lady Adora Igunma Ogunyomi. And she's going to be telling us a lot about herself. We're going to learn a lot. And just so you know, if you've ever felt at any point in time that people don't understand you, then this is something that you should listen to. And I hope that you get blessed. So welcome with me, Lady Adora. And can you just tell us about yourself?
That's a deep question. All right, my name is Adora Ogunyomi. I'm a child of God, first of all. I'm a
Yola.
wife. I'm a mom of a sweet girl. I am currently a learning experience designer. I'm an author. I run an NGO in Africa, a global organization. Yes, thank you very much. And I dabble into a lot of other things. I volunteer. Yeah, do a lot of speaking. I do a lot of content creation. Yeah, I do a lot of things, but
She wears many hats.
I wear many hats. So wherever you find me, I will always deliver.
I have a few questions for you. So my very first question to you is, when you hear healed or hurting, what comes to your mind?
Hmm. Okay. So when I hear the word healed, that is to me where you're able to see that the cause of a particular pain and it no longer has a hold
over you. Okay.
That is what it means to me to be healed. And then for someone who is still hurting, is that agony that still comes with the memory of pain. You're still in that space of, always regretting that particular moment, and you're just holding on to it like, I wish this never happened. So that is hurting to me, and that can appear in different forms, whether relationships or in life job,
generally,
career, anything. That's just it for me.
Okay, we'll get back to that. So I have another question for you. So of course you're a child of God, you're a pastor. She doesn't want to agree, but yes, she is.
Okay.
So if you just share with us briefly, how has your faith journey been so far, from like when you remember giving your life to Christ and then now in this journey that you are just summary.
Okay. I gave my life to Christ pretty young. I gave my life to Christ when I was in what's GS3 here now.
That's like a junior high.
Grade 9. So I gave my life to Christ around that time, and since around that time it was up and down. At this, I wasn't sure. I knew I had confessed, I believe, but in fact, I already started speaking in tongues immediately. I was baptized and all, but I wasn't just sure. So I would sin or make a mistake, and then I'll say, God, please forgive me. I give my life to Christ again. I went for different altars. But then I think in 2020, that was a turning point for me. Funny enough, that's very recent. And that was a turning point of understanding what intimacy meant. And that was the turning point for me in my relationship with God, just become more intimate.
Okay, well, interesting. So, here, Healed or Hurting, one of the things that this platform is about honest conversations about our faith and our faith journey. And, we've shared some things, we've talked, and that's why I wanted you to come here so that people can learn from your story and be encouraged. So, sometimes we get some news or where it feels like something that you should be joyful about, and your first reaction is like, no, I'm scared, or why me, like why now? And but then you look back and you're like, what other people are like, when they hear this story, that like they're really happy, and then there's this kind of like mixed feeling or mixed emotions that comes up, which we really always don't talk about. So for more content, I'll give you the whole gist. So she found out that she discovered that she was pregnant. It's not funny. So you can imagine, I mean, someone finds out that she's pregnant, you would expect that the first emotion should be joy or I'm happy, I'm excited. But do you want to I don't want
Yeah.
to say, do you want to share?
Okay, so yeah. So around the time my first daughter turned 1, so literally the next day I said, "Oh, I have to, get a pregnancy test done," and then I find out I'm pregnant. I look at the pregnancy thingy, the kits, and I'm looking, and I just dropped it, slammed it. I stormed into the bedroom. My husband was sleeping. I, I'm like, see what you have done to my life. Honestly, I'm like, see what you have done to my life. I told you. I told you. Like, honestly, I still remember my expression that day. I was so upset. I was so angry. I started wailing and crying. And he came out. He was trying to console me. I said, don't tell me you're sorry. Like, I can't imagine somebody you have to apologize for doing something natural. And then I had to sit down. I was scared, honestly. I was like, now that I'm trying to get my life back,
Mhm.
I've been away. I've not worked for a full year. We just moved countries and provinces, and I'm in the middle of trying to get
The
myself.
back together.
And then you're telling me now that another child is coming. I'm not even finished with the first one. Like, how do I manage? And also, there was this fear of I'm definitely going to be a bad mom to this second child. How am I going to manage this first and second? So there was a lot going on at the
So
time.
at the time, I mean, like, and of course, most people would say, oh, the general, of course, the general conception is like, oh, you're pregnant, should be happy. But
Mm.
in your case, it was like the reverse.
It's
So
a
I think,
reverse.
can you walk us through how, like, of course, you've said your very first reactions, but then you would have had time to process. Like,
Yeah.
how long did it take you before? I mean, there was obviously acceptance
Mhm.
eventually, but then how did you process your thoughts? Like, can you walk us through that process?
Funny enough, it was the same day. I know God did something beautiful. So I will work having a meeting with my mentor as well. And on that particular meeting, she said something, said there's someone, you're trying to run away from something, you're trying to run away from something, don't run away. So she kept on saying it, and I had to call her. And I'm like, Mama, see what just happened. Like, I was teary. She said, Adora, this is something you should be grateful for. I said, I know. I should be grateful for it, but I don't want it. Like, I'm not in that headspace for this right now. I'm like, you see my life now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels like my life, I put my life on pause because of this. And I'm not upset that I did that. I knew I needed to, but like, she said, Adora, this is something that people are praying. That was what she said. She said, this is something that people are looking for and praying for. And God just gave it to you like that, back to back. I said, Mama, I know. There are times like, it's not like you don't know these things,
No.
but like it happens to you and you're just like, she said, Adora, go and thank God. Have you thanked God for this? I said, no. She said, go and thank God. So I said, okay, no problem. So I went in, locked myself in the room, just lay down flat on the floor. I was just wailing and saying, thank you, Jesus. I think that was a turning point for me.
So I'll stay with that for a bit because there are people that not necessarily a child, it could just be something else that they're facing or they've faced and they're just not in a happy space. And I mean, it's a good thing that you were able, okay, so you had your mentor that you were able to speak to. Some people don't have anybody that they can talk to, right? So I think for me, one of the things I have found is, especially when you navigate in the Christian space, people want to share and they just feel like if I share with this person or if I talk to this person, they'll probably tell me that I'm an ingrate. I mean, which we know these things. We're not ungrateful, right? But at that moment, we just needed someone to help us process our thoughts,
Yeah.
or just help us walk through it. Which, in your case, I would say having your mentor at that time was like was a key turning point to you. So my question is, do you think your walk with God had anything to do with? I mean,
Oh,
had
yeah.
anything to do with it?
Oh, yeah. That's why it was easy for her to say what she said. So for every statement she made, she said, you know. So it's not like I was oblivious to what I was meant to do in that moment of receiving a gift. And so definitely my relationship with God. And that's why when I even went to God, I had to apologize and say, I'm sorry, you gave me something precious and I'm being an ungrateful child. And so definitely you can't have a father who freely gives gifts and
Mm-hmm.
he gives you one and you are saying no, you don't want to take your take your gift back now. So definitely my fear. That was the only way. I tell a lot of people, I say, if I don't know how people without Jesus do it,
Mm-hmm.
if I
Mm-hmm.
don't have run mad a long time ago. So yes,
So
definitely.
I mean, like, and like we always say, we can't do life without God.
I know.
And
Exactly.
having one thing I like when you started was that intimacy, because
Mm,
a lot of people are Christians, like they know God, they know all of it, but do we really have that intimacy with Christ? Because your mentor could have said everything, yes,
yeah.
but I feel like if you didn't have that intimacy with God
Mm,
by yourself,
mm-hmm,
that you're able to actually go to Him and have that conversation.
mm-hmm.
So, because I was talking earlier on one of like where I said that God just wants us to come the way
The way
we
we
are
are, yeah.
to Him, and then He's ready to take all of our pain and everything.
Mm-hmm,
So now you've gone to God, you've accepted the gift,
mm-hmm.
and you were happy. So a couple of other things happened. Do you want us to walk us through?
Yeah, I would say that I won't lie to you. The pregnancy was a blessing.
Mhm.
It unlocked something in my life. I don't know what it was, but I just got strength from nowhere. I honestly can't explain it till now. And I know it was God that was doing a quick work. He was trying to show me something
Mhm.
about the fact that you being pregnant is not, it's not the end
End
of
of
the
the life.
world. It's
Mhm.
not the end of life. I would, and if I'm the one that gave it to you, I will give you strength. I know the next decision you're about to enter, and so this pregnancy will not be a hindrance to that. In fact, it will be a blessing. And so I went through first trimester. I was going through first trimester, and it wasn't as crazy as my first. I was able to work. I was able to do so much work in that space. I was having a conversation with another friend that got pregnant at the time, and I was like, I can't believe this is first trimester. If first trimester can be like this, I can get pregnant every year. you
Please,
know, our first trimester can be honestly, and it really unlocked something in me that just made me to keep going. I was able to dream again for the
mhm.
longest time. I mean, my focus was just on my daughter. There was nothing like, oh, this is what I want to do. I was really almost on survival mode. And God opened my eyes again, gave me vision again, and just gave me that love for myself again. And, it did a lot of things to me. And then fast forward, in the midst of doing all of that, second trimester comes. Um, Getting into ministry because that's
I told you, Pastor.
starting our church in Light Nation Winnipeg, at the time, that same week. We started, did our inaugural service and everything, and that same week.
Mhm. And that same
That
week.
same week. So it's so that you will know that how the devil can be very tricky.
Mhm.
We just started church. It was very beautiful. We are congrats. People are saying congratulations, congratulations. The Lord is your strength. God protect you, blah, blah, blah. And then that same week, I started bleeding. And it wasn't even like blood. It was just like spotting. When you spotting, for those who um have gotten pregnant, the first trimester sometimes you spot. So it started like that, but I'm like, spotting in second trimester
It's rare,
is
actually.
rare,
Yeah.
very. So I started googling and checking. I'm like, anyway, let me.
Dr. Google. Okay.
I said, let me just wait. I said, let me wait it out and just see what's up. And it was still there. It was very light, but I'm like, this thing is now feeling a panty line now. This thing is not making sense. So let me call, because in the middle of the night I couldn't sleep. I just couldn't sleep. I wasn't comfortable. So I had to call like the online doctors, explain the situation to them. And so they are like, oh well, they don't want to rule it out as maybe, a miscarriage or something. They just want to be very sure. So they told me to call my family doctor. I went to my family doctor. Prior to that, my family doctor had already checked the heartbeat for the first time. She was going to check for the first time, and she was like, she can see the heart, like the rate, but she cannot
Here.
hear properly. I said, even myself, I can't hear properly. So in fact, my daughter and my husband were in the room at the same time, but she was so nice. I said, people should go, go, go. Let me hear very well. So in that moment, I was scared, but it wasn't like I was like, no, nothing. That's just. So she said, let me give you 1 more week so that it matures and the baby matures and you'll be able to hear the heartbeat properly. And so getting to the family doctor, I explained what's going on. And she's like, okay, let's go to the emergency, let them run tests, let them just do have an ultrasound done and see what's going on. I go to emergency. All this while, I didn't tell my mom what was going on. It was just my husband, that knew what was up, and this is where I was going. I went to emergency and I explained what's going on. Emergency here.
I know.
Kept me waiting, and they finally said, okay, we've scheduled an ultrasound for this particular time. Come back. So I go home, come back, and I'm very grateful as well because God also lifted help for me on that particular day.